gonna take this city for Jesus, one way or another. We're gonna get out in the highways and the byways and compel them to come. Compel. We're gonna drag them.
Compel them.
We're gonna bag them. We're talking about being you, being unique, being different. I want to tell you something. You can be an example.
But the best thing this place can do is just help this physical outside body. But where do you go when you have an emergency for the inside person? But most likely what will happen in a room like this, a scar will be left somewhere.
No matter if they're a sinner or a saint, but if they drag you down, if they wear you out, if they rob you of your passion, that's a bad relationship.
I'll never forget when he came as pastor. We had moved here in 2001, and in 2003, when Brother Zuniga came, or when the Zunigas came as pastor, we were in the darkest times of our life. And I can't tell you how much that man spoke into my life during those first several months that he was here. I'll never forget the times he would call and he would say, "Hey, can we go to breakfast in the morning? Let's go eat together." And we would go to breakfast before I'd go to work, and he would just pour into me. I can absolutely say with no question, he salvaged my ministry. He helped to salvage our marriage.
They spoke hope into our marriage, where we didn't think we would make it. They spoke hope. We know firsthand how Brother Zuniga's heart and his passion is for restoration. All through, through our darkest times, through the darkest times of our life, he was there speaking to him, which helped, our relationship. And I'm so thankful that, he spoke into our marriage and we followed him because he was our pastor.
I was born and raised in this church, and I've only had 3 pastors, and Brother Zuniga being the third, and hopefully the last. He is a great pastor, and I've always been behind him 100%, and still am.
The qualities that I have seen in both of them, first of all, Brother Zuniga is a man of passion. He's always had a vision. What I see in Sister Zuniga is she has a lot of wisdom, even though she's not always out front, but she carries a lot of wisdom, and I think that she shares that with him. And with both of them together, they have been an awesome pastor and first lady. I've always felt like ever since the transition with Brother Carson, that he was the man that God had chosen. I knew that without a shadow of a doubt. In 2020, when I was diagnosed with cancer, there's been several times that we've had to make some really life and death decisions for me. And during those times, I felt like I really needed the counsel of my pastor. And there hasn't been one time that he did not come by.
I believe by the Spirit of God that God uses him and has used him to just speak directly into my life and our lives during that particular time. Him knowing nothing about where our mindset is, but yet time after time, answers would come personally through him, but not only personally, but, through the Word of God as we came into just church services and God revealing to him the needs of the people. And he's always been right on track with that.
I heard him preach at a conference in Nashville, and that was before he came here.
And when I left there that night, I said, we got to have that man in our church. And of course, they did move here with their family. I was very blessed to be able to babysit Trenton and Tanner. We'd make popcorn and they'd lay on the back of the couch fighting, you know, and I was hollering at them. And I fell in love with the whole family. Every time he gets to the platform and brings a message across, God is instructing him, and that instruction goes out through the congregation. Everything that he preaches, that he teaches, it sticks in our hearts, and it gives us motivation. It gives me motivation. When I hear him talk about being greater and being better at what you do, it makes me feel better. It makes me want to do better. I am into reading books now, John Maxwell, and just more books on leadership. It's something that is now ingrained in me from Brother Zuniga.
My husband was in the process of trying to find an assistant pastor. Brother Dan wanted Brother Zuniga to come and do a youth revival, which he did. But I didn't stay home. I took off to ladies' retreat. So I barely met him that trip. Didn't know if I'd ever see him again at that point. Several people had come in, 2 or 3 people had come in, and Brother Zuniga came back, and this time Sister Zuniga came also. Ray and I were in our home, and he was kicked back in his recliner doing his little afternoon nap. And all of a sudden he pops up like a jack in the box and he says, "This is just not right." And I said, "Oh, what's not right?" He said, "He's not supposed to come as assistant pastor. He's supposed to come as pastor." We will come on over to the church and pick up the Zunigas. And when they get in the car, Brother Zuniga says, "I've got something to tell you, Brother Carson." He said, "Well, I've got something to tell you first." About the same time Ray got his little message that it wasn't right, Brother Zuniga and Sister Zuniga were over here in the evangelist quarters talking, and they said that they really felt like God was leading them in a different direction. They didn't need to be an assistant pastor. It was the time in their life when they needed to be a pastor. And the fact that those two things coincided so quickly, so easily, I think that's when I knew he was going to come and he was going to be pastor. I have been so amazed and blessed by how well they treated my husband in those early days when he was still bishop, and how much Pastor Zuniga gave him a whole lot of praise and honor. I remember when the new building was built over at 733, Pastor Zuniga, in my opinion, by rights, had all the rights in the world to take those big scissors and clip that ribbon, but who do you think he had clip it? My husband clipped it. And that was exactly 4 weeks before he went to heaven. So, brother and sister Zuniga, I just want to say that I am so happy to say, hello, Pastor, hello, First Lady. I love you both. I've loved you these 20 years, and I still love you. And I'm so thankful that you're here. We love you. God bless.
So being affectionately desirous of you, we were willing to have imparted unto you not the gospel of God only, but also our own souls, because ye were dear unto us.